Moving on to recording chapter 2 today. It's going to be a separate video from the previous two parts, although whether or not it ends up being its own video or combined with chapter 3 will depend on how long it takes. So yeah, moving on. Last time, wounded rabbit found way to Reimu and then she collapsed, and now continuing that. Bird, Reimu sweep. Bird always watching. Rabbit awakens. She's taking back control. It looks like I've made it to Earth, somehow. Silent Center in Blue, Chapter 2, The Jeweled Rabbit's Letter. The yokai rabbit has regained consciousness, but she's not from Gensokyo. Look at her. Isn't she cute? Hey, open mouth. No! No, no, no! Huh? Forcefully opens the door, but does not get on the floor. She does not have time to walk the dinosaur. Just what are you looking for? He's shocked. That's my rope! I wasn't going to give it back, even if you hadn't asked. You bully! Teleports behind. Huh? Very dramatic face zoom in. What? How did you just... You are the one who helped me, no? Let me show my appreciation. Thank you. Huh? Now, Rabbit is at table, eating food. How are your wounds now? It's okay. I slept, so they're alright. Look how happy she looks. Look how much of a goober she is. You certainly don't seem to be hurt anymore. It must be nice to be a yokai and heal so quickly. Yokai, am I a yokai? If you're not a yokai, then what are you? A weak yokai who can't take a beating? Maybe normal rabbits don't really look like this. I heard that this is what Earth rabbits look like, so I changed my shape on purpose, but... How rude, there's nothing wrong with me. I just hit a little space debris, that's all. You drank too much and were not paying attention. I wonder what space debris is. Something like that. Well, if you can heal up that fast, then I suppose there is no point in taking you to see the doctor. The doctor? Drink. Concerned eyes. Like white eyes here. It's a very important picture. Man, the rabbit really is... He does have a good introduction, doesn't she? I gave you my futon yesterday, so I couldn't sleep last night. She only has one. Poor Reimu. So I tried going to see the doctor yesterday, of course I got chased off. And that's why I'm really sleepy. Roll. And she sleep. A shot of the rabbit's ass. Happy. Bit. Jewel Rabbit. Jewel Rabbit, who continues to bear the burden of little sin. It's a hand. Sleeping all day, you'll turn into a yokai, huh? I couldn't sleep at all yesterday, so let me sleep. Drink too much? Huh? What's wrong? What's wrong? You sleep on your neck funny? No, my cloak is gone. Huh? You know X's name? Just who are you? I had to call that name to determine whether you were really a moon rabbit or not.
How'd you know I was a moon rabbit? And how can an Earth person even say X is his name correctly?
You shouldn't say that name so lightly. I was zoomed in the whole time. Didn't know that. Whoops. Zoom. Zoom. Whoops. I skipped it. Whoops. Zoom. Exit is called Chongi here on Earth, so please use that name from now on.
Changi. Change. Changi. E.
Changi? Chongi? The Chongi program. Today, the threat from the Apollo assassins sent by the humans has all but vanished. However, a new threat has arisen in the form of a Chinese lunar expedition known as the Chonga program. Apollo was the name of God of the Sun. The Sun and the lunar capital are incompatible, so the capital was never found and the danger passed. However, the name Chonka belongs to a real person who is imprisoned in the capital even now. A plan with such a name could only be terrifying for those in the lunar capital. Instantly, most of the moon rabbits pound out the elixir to serve out Chonga's punishment. So those are two apostrophes right next to each other. Thanks for the Lord Dump Aaron. I am Yagokoro, the immortality elixir drank by Shanku, who is the jeweled rabbits serve, and that drank by a certain lunar princess were both made by me. I wonder if you remember that.
Miss Yagokoro, the same Miss Yagokoro that said escaped from the moon as a criminal years ago. What a coincidence! What incredible luck!
Luck? You mean that you could manage to capture a wanted fugitive like we?
No way! I wouldn't do anything like that. Well, I'm sure I couldn't anyway. No, you see, this is really lucky, because it means you could probably help me hide out.
You're pretty self-centered, aren't you? Yeah, I didn't remember 99% of that chapter. I remember Rabbit wake up, Rabbit like go to Aaron, Rabbit leave.
So what's that cloak? You trying to become a celestial or something?
It's really gone. I can't find that rabbit either.
Start from the beginning.
Last night I found a shining robe and as a bonus, a yokai rabbit. I brought them back home, but I figured that rabbit was a kitsune or tanuki in rabbit form.
Huh?
Do I read the bottom or the next one first? While I was sleeping, that fake rabbit took the shining robe and ran off. So I thought I'd better be careful lest something gets stolen, but just then she woke up. I was so tired, as soon as I stopped to rest, I fell asleep. Okay, yeah, you read this and this. Yeah, I don't read manga much. In fact, I've only read the Touhou manga and haven't read any other manga. And the only anime I've watched that wasn't like stuff I watched on Cartoon Network as a kid that was dubbed is Nichijou. I'm not what you'd call a weeb. Don't really read comics either, so me not knowing what order I'm going to read, that's probably going to happen multiple times.
Damn it!
As usual, I have no idea what any of that explanation is supposed to mean, but there's something I can understand in it. That light robe was so light and so beautiful too. On that robe or whatever, that yokai rabbit's. Excuse me, didn't that rabbit run off because she figured out you'd take her cloak away from her? It was mine for a little while.
She's angry. Angry.
Well, it is nice that Reimu's showing some personality in this. I remember a lot of what Reimu does in this is just kind of like moving the plot forward, so it's nice she's having some character moments here. Are you running away from them too? Hide you? I'm supposed to read that first, yes.
We're all sick of acting out Chang'e's punishment, and I don't know how long they'll make us keep making the elixir. But I heard an interesting rumor.
About the revolution?
I knew you'd know about it, and they say the rebellion's leader is somewhere on Earth. So that's supposed to mean it's me, right?
So that's supposed to mean it's Ree, right?
Yes.
Goes right there. I know exactly what you're trying to say. Yeah, because Erin's like half her shirt's like red and the other half's blue. In black and white, it's like this. Erin has such a silly outfit. They say there's a wave of disorder sweeping across the moon. Even now, the lunar citizens are swept up in a flurry of speculation, provoking further unrest. Some say the one behind this disorder is the sage that escaped to Earth, that it's a counterattack by Eren Yakakoro. Got your hand there. By setting up an absentee as the mastermind, it's easy to control the citizens and maintain some order, so it is probably just a simple rumor. But I can't hide you here. You have to return to the moon immediately.
Is that okay? I mean, I know where Miss Yagakoro is now.
I'm sorry, but I won't take part in any rebellion or aggression. I have no more interest in what happens to the moon anymore. So, as long as you're a rabbit who can't forget about the moon, I can't really hide you here.
Really? You mean you're not behind the unrest on the moon? Miss Yagakoro, I'm not lying.
It's easy for me to help pass off 1 or 2 rabbits who ran here from the moon as done by space debris. Why would I need to lie about something like this?
I'm sorry, Miss Yagakoro, but after coming all this way, it's not easy for me to get back to the moon.
Look at her. Goober. Hey, that's just the way it is sometimes, Mario. Sometimes you run away from the moon, and sometimes you gotta go right back. I have some business for you there, though. Business that would justify you having come down to Earth.
What? Are you telling me to go back to the moon?
I saw you come down last night using the lunar veil. The lunar veil is a tool that lets you go back and forth between Earth and moon. If you came here using the lunar veil, that means you might be thinking of going back someday, right? You still have some sort of attachment to the moon, don't you? If I can't bring someone like that to my household.
Surely, a sage can see through everything.
Please, take this letter to the person written on the envelope.
Let's see. What? You want me to take it to Miss Wataski? There's no way a regular rabbit like me could ever get close to her.
Has that girl become that great?
She's always been the leader of those that tie together Earth and the moon. Since the moon is in such unrest now, she's
She's also the leader of those protecting the moon against those who would attack it, like me, supposedly. It's quite convenient, so it's just, well, make sure to mention my name when you give her this. In this letter is written everything that has happened so far and everything that may happen in the future. Do as I tell you and the moon should be safe. Not only that, but it should absolve you of the crime of your flight as well. Wow, that resolved quickly, didn't it? Rabbit leave moon. Rabbit want to go back to moon in like 5 pages. Wow, you're still practicing? I'm not tired since I slept all day. More like I just can't stand getting tricked by a tanuki.
Really? Quack. Quack. I'm sleepy.
Oh?
Huh? What's that?
A rising shooting star? Maybe a carp that swam up a waterfall and grew into a dragon? Must be a good omen. Is that the whole chapter? It sure is. That was 15 minutes. Go ahead and do the next chapter too. Moving on to chapter 3. This is going to be in the same video as chapter 2 because chapter 2 only lasted like 15 minutes. And I was originally going to record this immediately after recording that, but things happened yesterday that made me not able to record. So now it's the day after. And I'm recording again, so I'm going to move on to chapter 3. But before that, I wanted to talk about Chapter 2 a bit. I don't know how often I'll do this, because I didn't have much to say about Chapter 1, so I didn't talk about it afterwards. But, I don't want to spend too much time, like, nitpicking the plot, because, like, there's nothing I could say about Silent Sinner and Blue that hasn't been said hundreds of times already. But just that chapter in particular has kind of always bugged me a bit. And now that I'm rereading again, I kind of want to talk about it. So, the Rabbit. Rabbit, I'll call her, because she hasn't gotten her name yet. I don't know, I found her, like, introduction to be kind of interesting, because, you know, you have Raisin, right? Raisin, she fled the moon because, you know, she's a coward who wanted to save her skin, and she abandoned her comrades, and that's kind of a thing about her character that she kind of has to deal with. And you compare that with the Rabbit. Rabbit fled the moon because her life kind of sucks, because, you know, she has to pound mochi forever because some bullshit about Shonghu that I don't care about. And, I don't know, I found that to be, like, an interesting premise, which never really goes anywhere, because, like, I might be wrong. I don't think Race and the Rabbit ever talk. I think she leaves before anything's done with that. And then, so she goes to see Aaron, because her plan was to go hang out with Aaron. And that, like, and pretty quickly, Aaron just tells her to go back to the moon, and she's like, okay. And it's very brief conversation. It's very jarring. Where Aaron's like, you know, you used the lunar veil to go to get to Earth. That must mean you want to go back to the moon, right? It's like, how does she know that? Like, maybe she used the lunar veil because it was the quickest way she could do it. But apparently, no, she does want to go back to the moon. It doesn't take her that much convincing for her to do it, and it's just a very jarring scene where it's like, you get one line of dialogue where it's like, yeah, I left the moon because of this and because of that. And then she's like, okay, you kind of going to go back, right? And it's like, yeah, I guess. And it's like, why does she want to go back? She have, like, family or friends or homesick? What's the reason? Doesn't matter. Just move on. This is kind of things you kind of need to get into when you have a character that makes a drastically different decision from something they just did. You kind of need to get into their mind as a character to understand what's going on, but that doesn't really happen. She just, like, does what she needs to do because she needs to fulfill her role in the plot as quickly as possible so it can continue on. I don't know, I just always found that to be a bit disappointing. Because I thought there's something that could have been done there, but if it would have slowed down and let the letter thing happen a bit later, but no, it needed to happen as quickly as possible. So you had Chapter 2, and Chapter 2 was the wounded yokai rabbit that showed up to Rainbow's doorstep was actually a rabbit from the moon, and now that rabbit had made contact with Aaron and goes back to the moon with her letter. That entire chapter was basically that. It wasn't really anything deeper than that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Moving on to the next chapter, which starts with a giant exposition dump. Hakurei Shrine. The shrine where Reimu is the Shrine Maiden. It stands on the eastern edge of Gensokyo at the border to the outside world. It seems that objects from the outside world and occasionally lost humans show up there from time to time. Perhaps it's because yokai are always coming to visit Reimu, but the humans of the village don't often come to pay respects to the shrine. The Scarlet Devil Mansion, the Western-style mansion where Amelia and her friends live. It looks like the whole building was brought to Gensokyo from the outside world. Many maids live here, but aside from Sakia, they're mostly useless. Beneath the mansion is Gensokyo's largest library, and it seems that Marissa comes here once in a while to borrow steel question mark books. Aentei, the place I can never spell correctly, the manor where Kaguya and Aaron live. Since it's built deep within a large bamboo forest, notorious for getting people lost, it's not easy to find. It's a very old-style Japanese manor, but it doesn't seem to have much aged at all. Truly a mysterious place. Reimu Hakurei, the main character of the Touhou project and Hakurei Shrine Maiden, very carefree, but also has very good intuition. Friends with Marissa Kirasame, magician and Reimu's friend, lives in a house full of magical items and loves bustling but fun things. She scolds Yukari Yakumo, the great yokai that lurks in the border, who commands Ron Yakumo, a nine-tailed fox spirit, and Yukari Shikigami. Reimu also scolds Remilia Scarlet, young in appearance but is actually a 500-year-old vampire. Her behavior is also childish and extremely curious. That actually can confirmed age. Sakia is the servant. She also has a servant named Sakya Izayo, a human who serves as the Scarlet Devil Mansion head maid, a master at knife throwing and able to stop time. Was this page in the original thing? I don't know. Ramelia is friends with Patchouli Knowledge, a magician that lives at the Scarlet Devil Mansion, Ramelia's old friend. She's fairly weak and is asthmatic. Why can yokai get asthmatic? I don't know, but they can. Silent Sinner in Blue, Chapter 3, The Scarlet Rocket. What is the subject of this young girl question marks? Thoughts on the Moonlight Night? Kinsokyo's future, or just the dinner's menu? You can see Bat contemplating the words that have appeared in the sky. I've brought now at the Scarlet Devil Mansion. I've brought you some tea.
Thank you.
The Scarlet Devil, Ramelia Scarlet.
Is this tea the usual tea, or
It's very unusual tea.
the fuck does that mean? Have you mixed in something tonight? I wonder, the color's odd. It's almost violet.
I thought I'd try making a blue-red tea by mixing in a hint of Montag Blue.
A blue drink? How never. Not all that blue, though. It's been a month since the last full moon.
Oh, there was a full moon last month too, wasn't there? Slide. Yeah, I forgot. Usagi is kind of a shithead in this manga. Pretty great.
What's wrong, Pudgy?
The great unmoving library is moving. Of course, the full moon comes once a month. It's not like Christmas, which only comes once a year.
Of course it does, but more importantly, what about, you know what? It's been a month since that happened, hasn't it?
1 month ago. Then so. Great. If we had help from someone as strong as you, I'm sure we could easily find something of value. Yes, this is also great. Yes. This is pretty great too.
Well, isn't that an interesting story?
There are many interesting items and techniques in the lunar capital that don't exist in Kinsokyo. We'd like to take them as our own for the yokai.
Miss Yukari would love to improve the quality of life for the yokai in Tokyo, who've run into a period.
That's Ron still speaking. I thought that was Ramelia. I don't know why. Blame the, sharp tooth here. Miss Yukari would like to improve the quality of life of the yokai of Kinsokyo, run into a period of stagnation.
What's that? You mean she doesn't want to lose to the Mountain Kappa and Tengu? Don't be ridiculous. Scary.
What would be fun about being a wage slave, always worried about little things like they are? It's true that the outside world has possessed the power of science and technology, but it's lacking spiritual power. The Kappa and Tango of the mountain are just half-heartedly mimicking the outside world. However, the citizens of the moon don't share that weakness with the outside world.
They're somehow different?
Yes. Even now, they've discovered a method to obtain a limitless energy that lets them play every day. Once, several hundred years ago, Mizukari went to the moon and tried to steal that method.
Happy.
But, due to unforeseen circumstances, she wasn't able to succeed. There's something
I would like to know. Weren't those unforeseen circumstances really just that you got beaten and chased out by the lunar citizens? So why are you coming with this plan all of a sudden?
Because there are many more yokai now than there were then. If we all work together, we can't possibly lose this time. I mentioned this before, but if someone as strong as you were to cooperate in this plan, we could easily find something of value.
So? What's your plan?
Ms. Yukari will alter the border between the real and illusionary full moon reflect on the lake this winter. We'd like you to infiltrate the moon at that time. We'd like you all to sneak onto the moon when Ms. Yukari pulls back the boundary. Stupid hand pose.
And so we built a rocket.
This is what we've got. Unfortunately, I don't have any definitive references to work from.
That's too bad. At this rate, it won't be finished before Yukari goes to the moon this winter. And that means my plan to get to the moon before Yukari and surprise her won't come to fruition. Doesn't it?
I think there are problems. I think there are problems with the plan itself, but right now the lack of reference is the biggest problem. It's kind of a bit of a shady patchwork job you got there, huh? I could find more materials about rockets from the outside world, perhaps.
Takaya, this isn't order. I want you to go find references about rockets from the outside world.
Emotion conveyed through no dialogue. Very well. Is he here? Unidentified flying Sakuya. This is my house, you know. Of course I'm here. Where else would I be in the middle of the night? But more importantly, don't you know anything about a store's normal business hours? The unmoving used goods seller. Renosuke Morichika. Well, that's not a very creative title there, buddy. According to Gensokyo's rare item store, it's a very odd store that sells the various items from its proprietary finds. The shopkeeper, that guy, is said to be extremely eccentric, but it is the only store that sells goods from the outside. Well, if you don't know the normal business hours, you can always come in an emergency, so whatever. What are you looking for? I'd like to find some books from the outside world. That doesn't sound like much of an emergency. I'd like some books about moon rockets from the outside world. You mean the Apollo project. Send Zun some beer to give him inspiration. Yes. Some people outside think that humans haven't really landed on the moon. That's how forgotten Apollo is. But as a result, we've got plenty of materials on Apollo. Here. The Saturn V rocket. This should have a lot of details on moon rockets. But, you know, if you're looking for this kind of book in the middle of the night, it must be because your mistress is being a pain and making you... maybe. Will you let me take this? And so she took it. Oh, Saturn V? Human's first manned lunar expedition. They needed several enormous engines to make it all the way to the moon, so the rockets were all built as three-stage models. She read. Thank you, Socket. Well, I suppose we'll have to build a three-stage rocket if we want to get to the moon. You must have worked hard to find this. No, it's simply that the technology behind moon rockets is finally passed into fantasy. And whenever you ask NASA when we're gonna go back to the moon, they say they've lost the technology. That made it easy to find. I hadn't realized that the rocket shell wasn't just a simple cylinder, but if we can find a cylinder that can be organized into 3 parts, it will almost be complete. This is One small step towards Luna's invasion. One giant leap to me. I don't know why that specific set of words came to my mind, but it felt profound and very referential. Look at the perspective. She fly and Saki is small. She fly, Saki walk, Saki go outdoors, Saki leave, door open. Will a Scarlet Devil's mansion one up Yukari's scheme? And this is not part of the this is part of the magazine or whatever. Oh, I didn't show that. This is the cover. Alright, well that was chapter 3. Which is also about 15 minutes. This is a 30-something minute video, that's good. So, next will be chapter 4 and 5, maybe or maybe not in the same video, who knows. So, this bye.